You can outrun Tyreek?
I'm not going to stop shaking my head.
What do you think of when you see Tyreek Hill?
Nothing but speed.
He's unguardable, right? Uncoverable right now.
What can he not do?
Who's the scariest wide receiver in NFL history? Some people would say Randy Moss. Tyreek Hill is in that conversation. They don't call him cheetah for nothing. He runs at about 24 miles an hour. He abuses corners.
Nicknamed after the fastest land animal known to man for his frightening speed, Tyreek Hill has combined unique athleticism with elite ball skills and a footballing IQ that has made him virtually impossible to contain in the National Football League. Across his 9 years in the league, the Cheetah has earned 5 first-team All-Pro nods, and proved early questions around his size and grasp of the game to be completely wrong. And in today's video, we're going to look at 14 different times where NFL players, coaches, and even analysts expressed exactly what they think about Tyreek Hill over the years, and by the end of this video, I think some of them will surprise you, because this is exactly what NFL players think about Tyreek Hill. Now, as an All-American track star out of high school, Tyreek Hill's speed was never in doubt. But coming into the 2016 NFL Draft, a spotty record in college, along with significant off-field issues, kept him low on most teams' draft boards. There was one man who saw talent in him, though, with that being Kansas City Chiefs head coach Andy Reid, who explained the upside he saw in the 22-year-old after selecting him in the 5th round.
I mean, he's an explosive athlete. Obviously, he's got return ability. You know, he's had success as a player. I mean, when he's been on the field, and that's what enticed us looking at him. So.
And it would be that return ability that put Tyreek Hill in the spot as a rookie, leading the league in punt return touchdowns and yards. This earned him a first-team All-Pro nod as a punt returner before emerging as the team's leading receiver in year 2 with 1,183 yards to his name. And as crazy as that sounds too, Jaylen Ramsey thought that wasn't credible enough to make him a good number 1 wide receiver. Like, I mean, he let the press know exactly what he thought about Tyreek Hill during the 2018 season.
I don't like how, whoever has made it a matchup, me against Tyreek. He's good for what he does for their team. He made All-Pro as a return specialist. Let's get that right. As a return specialist, his rookie year. He went to 2 Pro Bowls as a return specialist. 2 years, I made All-Pro in my position as a corner. Went to the Pro Bowl as a corner. So it's not a wide receiver versus corner matchup. So we can get that out of the way off bat.
And that's as crazy as that sounds too, that Jaylen Ramsey wouldn't give the dude his flowers. Sauce Gardner was kind of on the other end of the spectrum there and did give him the well-deserved respect that he did earn.
Faced anybody faster than Tyreek?
No, I don't think so. No.
The Cheetah's right. That's the right nickname there?
Yeah, he pretty fast.
So what do you do with a guy like that?
Man, you got to study, and you got to react. He's not one of those guys where you could just read certain things and just be like, all right, this is what I'm gonna do. You got to react to whatever it is that he's gonna do, and you got to deny him when the quarterback throws him the ball. So that's just what that is. I feel like I've had some pretty good success going up against him, but hey, he's a great player. He's an elite receiver, even if he hasn't got all the credit this year, but he's definitely a dominant receiver, and can't nobody take that away from him.
Not only that, but Travis Kelce, one of his longtime teammates in KC, who Hill credits with helping him show the ropes, spoke on why their number 10 was such a unique talent.
He's the most unstoppable player in the National Football League. If you don't have 2 guys on him on every pass concept, it's liable to be a touchdown. And I'm talking about one of those daggers that those 60-yard, 70-yard bombs that just take the wind out of you. And what he can do, the most dynamic football player I've ever seen. You're talking about track speed. There's been plenty of guys that have ran 4.2s in the National Football League. But this guy, what he can do with the ball in his hands outside of just his speed, be able to hit somebody with a hesitation and hit the sideline, being able to route up a cornerback who have to take off the top of the defense. They have to play deep. For him to be able to understand how teams are playing him and mentally still get open and still have the success he's doing, man. I don't think that guy gets enough credit.
I mean, he had a point. 4 Pro Bowls, 2 All-Pros, and a Super Bowl in just 4 years in the league is no small feat. I mean, his versatility in the passing game was similarly praised by Chris Sims on the Dan Patrick Show.
The fact that he can basically score from any part of the field, whether it's a reverse, a toss sweep, a slant route, there's 20 seconds left in the game, we're going to throw you a 20-yard in cut, and then can you run by the rest of the team in Buffalo for the other 70 yards? Like, that's special. There's very few people that can do that.
But just as the Chiefs were expected to start their new run of becoming the new dynasty in the NFL, Tyreek Hill was looking to get paid, especially considering that his contract was up, and it caused a little bit of strain on the relationship and just the kind of tension that was being put on the organization to re-sign him. So they decided to give up some draft picks and let him walk, going to the Miami Dolphins for a haul of picks. Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes was well aware of what Kansas City would be missing going forward, sharing his reaction to the news of the trade.
And obviously my initial reaction was a little bit of shock. I mean, even though you knew that this was a possibility, just playing with a guy that you've played and built a friendship with over the last 6 years, it definitely was something that you didn't want him to leave, more for the just being able to hang out in the locker room and do that stuff than the actual on the field stuff. But you're happy for him, man. I mean, he got a great contract. Obviously, he's back where he has a house in the off season around a lot of his family and stuff like that. And I wish the best for him. And then for me, it was just we got to keep rolling. That's just kind of how it is in this league. It's a business as much as it is about your friendships and stuff like that. And so we know that in order to have success in this league, you have to keep evolving and keep getting better. And so I got with these new receivers as quickly as possible and try to build that so that we could have success right when we get going this year.
And I mean, honestly, the reason that he did move to Miami or want to go to Miami was because he didn't want to be, and I'm pretty sure I'm directly quoting him here, I could be completely wrong, that he didn't want to be the side chick to Travis Kelce inside of the Kansas City passing offense, which is just crazy to say because the dude was an absolute demon when he was on Kansas City. I mean, Chad Ochocinco Johnson even gave his unique perspective on those remarks on the Nightcap podcast.
But Tyreek, again, being as special as he is, he made that offense even more special than what it already was. He made it more special and dynamic than it already was. Obviously, you can see it's still struggling a little bit, with the ups and downs that they're having now, not having a true number one receiver that can not only take the top off of defense, but can run those intermediate routes, can run those shallow routes, and bounce his head off the goalpost from anywhere on the field. Anywhere. Somebody special. That's why anytime I talk about Tyreek, I always put him in a category completely by his goddamn self because we've never seen anything like that before. Other than that, I mean, it's funny. I love his sense of humor too. He's one of the few players that is playing today that keeps the game entertaining, and it forces you and makes you want to tune in to see what's next.
Like, I mean, hearing those kind of words from another receiver who just had so much on-field talent and just electricity when he was in the game, and Chad Johnson, had to feel great for Tyreek Hill to hear those words coming from another great wide receiver that once played. Are you looking for a new book this football season? BetUS is the answer. They have the fastest and easiest payouts in the industry, along with 24/7 personalized service, 365 days a year. Not only that, but they have live wagering on all major games, so if you see something mid-game and want to make a wager on it, you can. And the best part is you get 10% back on your net losses twice a year. And now look, you guys knew I had to come through with you guys for a promo code, so make sure that you guys are using code YouTube150 for a nice 150% deposit bonus on up to $2,000. That's right, we were doing 125%, but we said screw that, we're giving you guys 150% instead. Again, that is promo code YouTube150 for a 150% deposit bonus on up to $2,000. Again, thank you to BetUS for sponsoring today's video, but for now, let's hop back into it. His arrival in Miami helped forge one of the league's most formidable receiving duos with a second-year Jaylen Waddle improving leaps and bounds for a career-best season in 2022. When asked which team had the best wide receiver duo in the league, six-time Pro Bowler Shady McCoy said this.
I want to go with the Philadelphia Eagles, but then I thought about it. That's a great tandem. I got to go with Dolphins, right? Waddle and Tyreek Hill, like them guys together. All that speed is so hard to cover. And not only just the speed part, but they got like true number one talent on both sides, right? Jaylen Waddle could be a number one on a lot of different teams. Then you add in Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill hasn't had a bad year in the last, 7-8 years? He's productive all the time. There was a period of time where I thought that Tua was just regular quarterback. He won't last long, right? That's how it was going. It's okay. His team kept trying to replace him. And then Tyreek Hill comes to the picture, right? And you see the difference. Him and Waddle together, 1,300 yards and then 1,700 yards on offense. When you do that with the wide receivers, you can get anything you want. You can run the ball, you can play action, you get the tight ends over the top. Whatever you want to do, you can do. You got wide receivers like that. So my tandem, I had to go with them too.
And in the same way that Kelce and Ocho Cinco explained Tyreek's influence on the Kansas City offense, he completely changed the complexion of Miami's scoring attack overnight. But it wasn't just his impact on Sundays that changed this team. And I'm going to have Jaylen Waddle say it because Jaylen Waddle just explains the positive impact that Tyreek Hill, not only for the team, but himself as well.
What I take from him, I say his approach to the game. A guy that's as accomplished as he has to go at it, hit it hard, come to work every day. Don't just uplift the receiver room, but uplift the whole team. Used to watch when he was in high school and then ultimately play with,
Hill's maturation into a leader and a focal point for the Dolphins franchise helped the offense explode in 2023. He opened the season with a stunning 215-yard, 2-touchdown showing against the Chargers, which none other than Randy Moss weighed in on via the Rich Eisen show.
What do you think of when you see Tyreek Hill this past weekend, Randy? What goes through your mind?
Nothing but speed. I don't know why the Chargers thought that they could just cover this man one-on-one. I just remember, Rich, back when I was in, it may look like that teams were playing and cover me one-on-one, but that safety was still over the top. I don't know why teams keep trying to fake like they're not or disrespecting him and giving him single coverage. I think Tyreek Hill is one of those very, very special athletes that every single play you got to know where he is. And you have to honor him by putting somebody over the top. The Chargers didn't do it. That's why they went home with a loss.
That's high praise from one of the greatest, if not the greatest wide receiver of all time. And it doesn't get much better than that. And Hill barely slowed down. He finished the season with a league-leading 1,799 receiving yards and 13 touchdowns, which earned him second in Offensive Player of the Year voting and the #1 spot in the NFL's top 100, showing just how esteemed Tyreek Hill's game is amongst his peers. Perhaps the teammate whose approval Hill needed the most was Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, who had a similarly glowing review of the Cheetahs game on the Manning cast.
To this day, I've never overthrown Tyreek. I don't know if it's possible. I don't have the Patrick Mahomes arm, to be able to do something like that.
You're hitting him right in stride every time.
Yeah, I think as I hit him in stride, it's probably me throwing it as far as I can at that point. But yeah, it's fun having someone like Tyreek to throw to. And really he allows the other guys on our team to get open, and those guys sort of play off each other within our offense.
And it's crazy because despite the heaping praise around his ability, Seahawks wideout DK Metcalf has come out and challenged Tyreek Hill's speed, backing himself as the fastest receiver in the NFL.
You can outrun Tyreek?
I'm not gonna stop shaking my head.
Hold on, time out. Hold on. I'm not finna let you do this. I'm not finna let you do this, DK. You, DK Metcalf, is sitting here today in Club Shay Shay, telling me he could outrun Tyreek Hill. I'm talking about Tyreek Reed Cheetah, the one that was Kansas City, now he's in Miami. That one, number 10.
You can give him 10 more nicknames. It's still gonna be the same person to me. Hey, I'm just saying I got a different type of speed. I got a DK speed. Just like Cheetah, Cheetah speed. Yeah, I got DK speed, and that's just me.
Honestly, all jokes aside though, it was a little bit different this year because Tyreek Hill didn't look anything like he did in 2023, and the offense didn't look as explosive either. For Tyreek to be missing out on the playoffs for the first time in his career, he informed the media that he was, and I quote, ready to leave the Dolphins for a new challenge. This caused a stir across the league with many former pros weighing in on the situation, but a former wideout who is no stranger to the limelight and Steve Smith expressed mass confusion.
I don't have anything to say because I've been such a bonehead in my career and said things that I wish I could take back today. When I hear sometimes the things that I say, I'm like, oh. So because of that, all I can say is, wow. I was thrown off that he did that. And I'm not gonna say this is what we expect out of him. I was actually shocked because I did not expect anything like that to come out of his mouth, to be honest. Furthest thing from my thoughts. So when I saw it, I just went, oh. And that's all I have to say. I was just shocked.
On the contrary, though, Ryan Fitzpatrick, who spent 2 seasons in Miami, brought up some valid concerns around the move, providing valuable insight on the inner workings of being a leader in the NFL.
I mean, he's an unbelievable football player.
There's no doubt about that.
There's no doubt about that. He's probably, if not the most talented, he's in the top 5 in terms of talent in the NFL. But as you get older and your skills diminish, and that factor of not being a great leader, not wanting to be around, as that continues to be where it is, you just see this disconnect, and then your career gets away from you. So I hope Tyreek finds his happy place. He's obviously still going to be very productive and going to be able to produce wherever he goes, but he also has to understand, that the window is shrinking a little bit for him. And, sometimes you keep thinking everywhere you go, they're the problem, not me, when, maybe you got to look in the mirror and figure out why it keeps happening to you.
I mean, truthfully, he does seem to have walked back on it recently, but it just remains to be seen what Tyreek Hill is going to do ahead of this coming year. But despite jumping ship on a dynasty a year early, he has still carved out a remarkable career for himself and is highly rated by colleagues around the league, whose opinions and insights are an invaluable asset for evaluating his greatness on the gridiron, and hands down being one of the greatest wide receivers to ever play the game.